One word. Chinook. Helicopter. Armpit. B.O.
Pew? No.
I don't think it.
Wash.
Link.
Ah, yeah.
Did I just say
Good one.
What?
I'm not sure if the actors in it.
This way, just put it down there.
That me.
Three, two symbols. Oh, yeah. That's the first symbol.
Just.
Alright, another one?
Ah.
Doing it now.
Sure. What?
Cut a pen.
Hope. Not sure what they're called it hope. Yeah, it's painful.
No.
Halo. Angel.
That's one more thing on pouch.
Angel.
No.
Dunno.
Aeon assassin. What? What was that?
It's fast
Did you get closer? Is it military or commercial? Shot. Woodcut.
Not chop.
Cut. Slice. Slice. Chip. Chipmunk.
Oh, as soon as you said chip.
No, you got picked by what's
Whose
it?
turn is it?
Hewitt, it's kind of you go. Yeah, we'll go in a minute. You better start thinking. Three syllables. First. Dirt. Sounds like anything? Sounds like
Big Tuxon.
strong. Monkey. Lift.
Do you know?
Carry. Sounds like carry.
Carrier.
Harrier. Harrier. Well done, one. That's good. Credit at the get. Two syllables. Helicopter. Chicken.
Alright, another one.
You're next.
Harry, what?
Caribou.
Carry the. Okay.
There is what for.
Three syllables. First syllable. Sock.
Salt whip pot now.
Oh, nice. Well done. Fill them up, you go. Well done. Well done. Well, that was good, one. Five syllables. First syllable.
7.
Round. Speed.
Air. Hurricane.
Airbus.
Airbus A380.
Well, that was fun. I was talking to Mr. Weston's son.
You get out of the way then.
Your next. Your next.
Mr. Weston's son.
What?
Okay, change it up a bit. You have to use the letter from your surname
What?
for an airplane. First letter of your surname.
We've got a nice easy set.
Oh. Oh.
Think about it,
I do go. What have you got there? You've got nothing.
Oh.
Fraser.
Have you had this one?
What is it?
Air label.
Sergeant, pick someone. Sergeant, pick someone.
Fraser.
It's easy, come on, eh?
Yeah, no, yeah, it says,
F16. 18.
About 20
Little thing. Yeah, but R.
oh, look, you got it one.
R.
You
No, mine.
Do another one.
You've got like the easiest surname ever. It's like a million aircraft names start with F.
American aircraft.
Lots of American aircraft. They all start with F.
Very fast.
F, then a few numbers.
You know any airplanes? Right.
Good choice.
Are you an air cadet? No.
Lion swap.
What we got?
Yeah, you got to have an aircraft name. Well, this begins with L.
I can't act it out. I can't act it out.
Do it. Do sound like or?
Can I just say that it's the name's the same type of name as an animal?
Lima.
No.
No, devil.
I bet you missed it, didn't it? Is it a lynx?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
You haven't got it yet. Sales, Jar, you're hiding the bank as well.
J.
I've been up 3 times and done it twice. Yeah, there is one. I'm still thinking of one.
Yeah, yes, there is one. If you come here, I'll talk to you. Did you just say one?
Hey, the underground.
Joe's got one. You don't say.
You didn't get there. I think we're not.
What was it?
Hey, no, I've been up there twice.
What was it?
Someone else. Jacob.
Oh.
Don't like Lola, you're good at it. No, he's actually good at it.
You are good at it. Laura, you
Oh, come on, Lola. I don't even know what I'm good my good at. I used to be. Come on, Lola, you can do it.
I know.
I know.
I have like half of one.
Taylor, I trust you, come here.
Yeah, that's
Shut up!
Wait,
Get up there.
Come
Come on, Lola.
Lola.
You know. Lola. Lola.
You got
I know.
what do you do?
Lola.
Wait for you. No, sir, Mr. Weston, something. I'm not.
One word.
You're on the ground.
Two syllables.
I'm not playing this game as well.
Singing. That's 4 people. Like?
Yeah, don't. Gemma, that's it.
Go and cheeky. Go again. No!
What is that?
Yeah, I'll give it
Doing it.
Have you got one, Truman?
Yeah, Tim's got one.
Truman's got one.
You can't say it.
It's got something to do with the turning thing, hasn't it?
I'm not even going to guess.
Typhoon.
Not too bad.
Based on the case.
Typhoon.
Right, shut!
Thank you.
Come on, you lot, find a seat.
There's another
In Oxfordshire. Bit of history about myself. Spent about 5 years on 358 Squadron as a cadet, and then went straight to the Royal Air Force as a direct entrant air loadmaster in 1989. Spent the first 4 years on C-130 Hercs, working out of 24 Squadron RF Lynham. Had a great time, quite literally living out of a suitcase and going around the world. It was brilliant, all the taxpayers' expense. Stayed in some of the best hotels ever, and they paid me for doing it. It was brilliant. So this is where the advertising is starting for the Air Force. Okay. However, there's only so much you can do on a hurt, there's only so many chicken curries you can eat, and eventually I got bored with it and remustered straight across to be a crewman on Chinook helicopters. I spent a couple of years on 7 Squadron, and this is down at RF Odium in Hampshire, and from there I went across to 18 Squadron. I did 8 years on 18 Squadron, and from there I went to what is known as the Rotary OEU, Operational Evaluation Unit. Spent 4 years doing trials and tactics. It was absolutely fantastic. Any new piece of equipment, from clothing to weapons that was going to be installed on Chinook was my remit. Absolutely brilliant time. At the end of that 4 years, a bit bored. Done 15 years on Chinooks, not much else I had wanted to do. So I went across to Merlin's. Stayed at RF Benson, and I'm now on, like I say, on 28 Army Cooperation Squadron, where I've been ever since, and I'm the Senior Flight Master of the squadron. What we're going to do is go through a series of questions that you've got to kind of provide me, okay? It's all a bit give and take here, so I've got the names of whoever asked the questions, so when the question's going to be asked, that cadet is going to be standing up, so everyone can go, it's them. Alright? Also, I'm going to be asking you a few questions as well, right? If you don't know the answer, don't worry, okay? If you do know the answer, or you think you know the answer, shout it out, okay? I'd rather have had a response like go, hey, let's try it, rather than you just sit and look at me and go, okay? Right, so nice bit of feedback. Happy with that? Brilliant. Good.
Take those off if you want. Take those off if you want.
Don't need that. So whilst that is cracking on, we have that all working. That's great.
Technical difficulties.
Right, let's crack on. Cadet Powell, where are we?
He's not up tonight, sir.
Really? Are you saying that? He's not hiding outside?
No.
Okay. Right. Where in Afghanistan have I been serving? Right. Who, on a show of hands, Afghanistan, who's got an appreciation of what is where in Afghanistan? By which I mean Helmand Province. Was it? Where's Helmand Province? Who would know where that is? No? Roughly? Okay. How about if I said, where's Afghanistan? Globally. Who's got an idea of that? Brilliant. Where's Afghanistan?
Around the Middle East area.
Absolutely, yeah. It's effectively just to the east of Iran. Okay? Sandwiched in between Pakistan and Iran. Right? Up to the north of it, you've got Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, a whole load of stans, and even a tiny wedge of China. Right? Now, as you can imagine, that gives you quite a broad spectrum of people to work with. Okay? It is quite the multicultural society. The bit we're interested in, certainly in the UK, is down the bottom. Okay? Kandahar Province and Helmand Province. Kandahar Province, sort of southeast of the country. Anyone know what's so historically significant about Kandahar? No? Going back about 2,300 years ago. The city was actually built by Alexander the Great. Okay? So a heck of amount of history in this country as well. So that's where we based ourselves, first of all. That was from around about 2006 to 2010. Okay? From there, we moved to Helmand Province. Big show of hands, please. Who's heard of Camp Bastion? Thank you. Excellent. Good. Yeah. Camp Bastion, massive place, smack bang in the middle of the desert. Probably the most defensible position I've ever seen. Okay? Camp Bastion is huge. Absolutely enormous. How big? It has a 36-kilometre perimeter fence. Alright? You could fit all of Heathrow Airport in there about 6 times, including the runways. It is massive. Why is it massive? Because there's 30,000 people living there. It is the size of a small town. Right? That's where all our operations are taking place right now. So everything you see on the news, everything that's going on, is actually happening around about, I'd say, between 10 to 50 kilometres to the east of Camp Bastion. That is the green zone. Okay, when you see all the pictures of troops patrolling around in the middle of fields, okay, in ditches, everything else, that's all happening, quite literally, just down the road from Camp Bastion. Okay? That's where I do all my business. My business is to take the troops and put them wherever they need to go in Helmand Province. Okay, we will put anything up to about 20 troops in the back of our Merlin, a Chinook where you can just cram them in until the actual windows fall out, and it will still keep going, and we will take them wherever they need to go. If that means, and I have done this, landing quite literally in somebody's back garden, we will do it. Alright? Why will we land in someone's back garden? Well, about 2 years ago, one of the Taliban decided he would get a little bit saucy, and he decided he was going to take on 2 para, all by himself. Okay? You don't want to do that. Okay? Certainly not 2 para. 2 para are our airborne shock troops. Right? If you want to create a mess, you send 2 para in, they do the business, they get the job done. Anyway, this chap put down a few rounds with his AK-47. Unfortunately for him, what we now have out there are called PGSS balloons. Okay? They're like big old barrage balloons that you had in World War II that you put up on a rope. Okay? But instead of catching aircraft, these sit up there at 3,000 feet and they are laden with high definition video cameras that can see out to around about 6 miles. Alright? They're fantastic pieces of kit. So, they got the grid dude who's firing at them, honed in with a camera, and when he finished shooting, they just followed him home. Right? And we come, there he is. He's in that house there. Paris phoned us up. It was about 5 o'clock in the evening. Said, hi, there's this Taliban dude who's been shooting at us. We want to arrest him. Can you help us out? No problems. So we supplied 2 Merlins. At dawn the next day, we put those 2 Merlins into this guy's back garden. Offloaded about 20 Paras and the same amount of Afghan artillery. They just went straight into his house and found him with an AK-47. Anyone know what PKM is? Big Russian machine gun. And around about 200 rounds. Okay, quite literally smoking gun evidence. Right, they brought him straight up the back of my helicopter. His sister stood at the back of my helicopter, waving a big red Quran at me. So we had to sit there and wait until the sister was dragged away, because we couldn't take off and blow away with the aircraft. Hearts and minds, so you can think of this sort of thing. And off we went. Alright, the prisoner was then exploited, his DNA was taken, evidence-based, locked him up. That is how you do things in the modern theatre. Okay? Now obviously there's the usual stories of gunfights, etc., but that is our spectrum of warfare. Okay? One day you will find yourselves landing next to a drugs den, and you will haul in about 20 tons of opium, raw opium, and the next day you'll be knocking on someone's door to pull the prisoner back into your aircraft. Questions on what I do in Afghanistan? Everyone happy with that? Brilliant, I'll show you a video later. Okay, right, what do you personally like doing in the RAF? Cadet lines. Excellent, good check of coffee, thank you. Right. Cool, sit yourself down a bit. Brilliant. No, I'll talk to you. Can I have someone to press a button on the old PowerPoint, please?
I ain't touching it.
Done.
That's it.
Right, here we go. What? Oh, that's my Air Force. What? Right. Who knows who these guys are? Yeah, I know you. Muttering down here somewhere. No? Navy SEALs. US Navy SEALs. Okay? That thing is called a SOCA. Special Operations Craft Riverine. It's a 9-ton jet boat. As you can see, quite literally bristling with weapons. Flat bottom, so it can actually go in very, very shallow water, and it works using impellers, not propellers. That's effectively, it sucks in water and then pumps it out the back at mass velocity. It's like a water version of a jet engine, right? But it fires water out the back instead of hot air, all right? Why is that up there? What do I like doing? I like working with chaps like this. I was lucky enough to be on Octane 1 for the first part of the invasion of Iraq. And about 2 to 3 weeks into the war, these dudes phoned us up, literally phoned us up and said, hi, we've got 4 of these things that need inserting into the Shat al-Arab River, which is the river that divides Iraq from Iran. Can you help us out? So we pitched up and found these things, and this enormous guy turned around and said, right, this is how you do this. You sling them underneath your aircraft, all right? And you fly them to the river, and then we drop a rope ladder down into the boat, and then whilst you're still in the hover above the river, we will climb down the rope ladder into the boat, then you put the boat into the water, and then you pull the rope ladder up, drop the slings, which are all soft slings, into the boat, and we drive away. Look at you. Oh, can someone go to the next slide? There you go. That's me in that helicopter doing this, and that's the Chateau River. As you can see, we come to the harbour with the boat underneath us, and they climb down the rope ladder. All right? That's one of the things I personally love doing in the Royal Air Force. Weird, bizarre operations. Okay? Back home in the UK, it's all general flying. All right? And I'm sure that when you guys get to go flying, very exciting, fantastic. But I'm just about to hit 6,500 flying hours. So the stuff I do back here, yeah, great, it's good. I teach it to the young loadmasters as well. Fantastic. Somebody comes around and says, you want to go this? Oh, yes, please. Right? And when they do come up with weird stuff like this, you just have a panic rush of crewmen and loadmasters running from saying, oh, yes, please. All right? This is really, really good stuff. Let's move on. What else do I like doing? The other great thing about being a crewman, yeah! I get to play with stuff like that as well. The M134 minigun. Okay? This is when I was on my Chinook days. Yeah, it does exactly what it says on the tin. That is a Gatling gun, 7.62. The version we've got now is a DC-powered piece of kit. Fires 3,000 rounds a minute. Okay, so a 1 second button push, that's 50 rounds in 1 second. So pretty much enough hard ammo going down to destroy a car in 1 second. All right, we carry 2 magazines, one for each weapon. When I say magazine, each magazine contains 3,200 rounds. If we're still there after a minute, right, then I want to know why. Right, so I've used up all my ammunition and all of my nerve. So that is there to, it's what we call an area suppression weapon. Right? It's tremendously fun to use. I've never used it in anger, thank God. Right? Only on the range. When I was on the OEU, I actually spent 4 years as the chief gunnery instructor, so it was my job to go out and check out all the other instructors on this weapon. So I was firing this thing once every 2 months. It was great, absolutely great. So that is what I also like doing in the Royal Air Force, playing with weapons. Get the old left-hand mouse, please. Right, this is the weird one. Does anyone know what MERT is? Medical Emergency Response Team. You've probably seen a load on the Health for Heroes stuff. That's in the back of a Chinook. And what you can see there, on the right, in fact just at the top right, you can just see the head of the crewman. He'll be on his minigun. On the right there will be the doctor. On the left here will be either another doctor, an anaesthetist, or a paramedic. Just above him is another paramedic, and a lady there is a nurse. That's your MERT. These guys go in and pick up all the injured people. It doesn't matter who they are. I've carried everyone from British soldiers down to 9-year-old children, Afghan children. Okay? We've been caught in the middle of firefights. This helicopter then becomes a mobile operating theatre. Right? I have seen them do quite literally open heart surgery. Right? Down the back of my helicopter. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Why do I like doing this? It's quite a gruesome thing to do. First of all, it's one of the most exciting jobs you will ever do, because you are going in and you are putting the stick into the hornet's nest and you are waggling it around. Okay? You will go and you will land where the enemy are. Okay? It doesn't get more frontline than that. Secondly, you know that despite the fact that you've been called out because something bad has happened, you're probably going to save a life. And that gives you the best feeling ever to know when you come back to ops, you've saved a life. Go back to what I said about the little boys that I pulled out of the battlefield. One of them, 10 years old, he was shot in the head. Okay, it was a ricochet. He literally was just in his field. The Taliban decided they were going to open fire. The bullet came off his head and knocked a chunk of his skull off. Okay, we got to him in about 20 minutes. About half an hour later, he was in the hospital in Kandahar. Okay, a week later, he walked out of hospital. All right. That's how good that team is down the back, and that's how frontline and how exciting this all work gets. But it's a bit strange, okay, because you can sit there thinking, you want to get called out for someone to be injured. Surely it's better for someone not to be injured. Yes, I completely agree. But from a pure operator's point of view, that's good flying. Okay? Happy? Good question. Oh, please, it should all go right. Right, next question then. Cadet Corrington.
He's not happy, sir.
You've backed out, haven't you? Right, how long have I been in Afghanistan? It's an easy one. Yeah, too long. I've spent a total of 57 weeks in Afghanistan, so just over a year of my life in Afghanistan. Is that long? By some standards, yes. By others, no. I know a chap who's actually spent 3 years of his life there, and he's been awarded the MBE for his efforts. So we have got guys who've spent an awfully large amount of time in theatre. I added up the amount of time I've spent away, and I'll come on to this as a career question later on. The amount of time I've spent away on operations and exercises and deployments since I joined the Air Force is 7 years. And I've been here for 23. If you want that in any form of perspective, that's 2 years longer than World War II. So, if you're thinking about this as a career, it depends to spend time away from home. I'll come on to that later on. Sorry, Cadet Corrington, that's all you get. Corporal Riddler, right? Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. Everyone seen him? What is it like to fly a Merlin? Right, what is it like to fly a Merlin? Okay, I don't know because I'm not a pilot. So they're on this, probably. I'm an aeronaut. Okay. However, let's open this up a little bit more. Okay, a Merlin. Everyone seen a Merlin before? Yeah? Excellent. Big rotor and a tail rotor. Hands up if you can tell me why we have a tail rotor. Go.
To counterbalance these propellers direction so I can spin out.
Absolutely. Okay, it's one of Newton's laws. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The head that spins around, the rotor head that spins around, okay, creates a torque reaction which tries to spin the body one way. Okay, so we have a tail rotor that makes it spin the other way and in effect balances it out. So, if you imagine, if you put in power what we call the collective, which is the lever of a helicopter, okay, the thing that you see all the actors uselessly wagging around when the helicopters go out of control on their films, okay, you create more power to the head, okay, the rotor head. Therefore, more power means more torque. More torque means more reaction. So, whenever you put in power, you have to put a load of boot in as well with the yaw pedals to stop the aircraft twisting around. Right, who knows what Chinook is? Good. What's the difference then between Chinook and the Merlin?
It's got 2 rotors, sir.
2 rotors, yes, 2 main rotors, tandem rotor. Each one spins in an opposite direction. It has its own built-in anti-torque system. The front head tries to make it turn one way, the back head tries to make it turn the other way. Therefore, you don't need an anti-torque system, therefore it's far more powerful and far more stable. Consequently, speak to the pilots when they say about flying a Merlin or any other tail rotor helicopter or flying a Chinook. Apparently, flying a Chinook is a bit like flying a little aeroplane. Okay? Because you just put in power and away you go. Some weird, insane American who's probably locked away in a lunatic asylum who actually worked out how to make the thing stay in the air, okay, took all of the problems away from us. Right? And there are some weird things that a Chinook needs to stay in the air. Differential airspeed hold, longitudinal cyclic trim, differential collective pitch, fantastic, brilliant words and phrases like that, all to make the Chinook fly. Who cares? It does. Right? You can call it Red Indian magic if you want, but it stays in the air. Consequently, aircraft like the Chinook, the CH-46 Sea Knight, which is its small brother, are a lot easier to fly than the Merlin. And then you have a tail rotor helicopter. There you go. Happy? Brilliant. So now go home and tell you folks I know the difference. Oh, another thing about it as well. Advances, yeah. Advances in helicopters have meant that the stabilisation process of a Merlin has got to the stage where we can smooth out all the bumps. You get into a Chinook, you go up to 140 knots, you'll probably rattle your fins out. Okay? You get into a Merlin, you go up to 140 knots, it's like a magic carpet ride. It's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. So what? Well, think of that picture of the medics down the back of the aircraft. Okay? How difficult do you think it is inserting a cannula into someone's arm when the helicopter's doing that? Right? So Despite its lack of power, the Merlin is in fact the weapon of choice for casualty evacuation, simply because it's so smooth. So another difference, you actually keep your fillings in your head with it. Right, next. Right. This is going to hop back a tiny bit because I sort of answered this really. Corporal Southgate? No, Sergeant Southgate, sorry. There you go. Best equipment I've used. Right, you've just seen a picture of one. Right, the M134 minigun. Ah, yeah, big boys, so it's fantastic. I get to use so much good kit, and again, this is another advert for joining the armed forces. If you are into aircraft, if you are into the military way of things, okay, when you join up, you will get all this stuff given you. No other company will do what the Air Force and the Army and the Navy does to further your interest in all of this sort of thing. Okay, and they'll do it for you for free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay, in fact, they'll give you a wage for it. So we do get all the Gucci kit. We really do. Another great piece of kit: night vision goggles and night vision devices. Yeah, the things you see the guys slapping on their head. Around about, well, these days you can probably pick them up for about 15 grand, decent set, and they come so far. I believe about 4 years ago, I came down here with a set of NVDs. Yeah, about that. Was anyone around then? All set of goggles down here. Right, next time I'm down, I'll bring some night vision goggles down here and have a look through them. They're fantastic, absolutely brilliant. They will literally turn night into day. You see all this stuff, and you'll see some footage of it later. You might think, well, that's a little bit grainy, but no, when you've got them right up to your eyes, you can see for miles. From a search and rescue perspective, could have said, well, I'll tell you how good they are. Odium in Hampshire, okay, so a bit of geographical location. It is that way, Odium. If I drew a straight line, probably about 70 to 80 miles, around about that. On a clear night, at a height of 500 feet, flying the circuit with a set of night vision goggles on, I can see the anti-collision light on top of the Canary Wharf Tower in the middle of London. That is how good night vision goggles are. Right? So from a search and rescue perspective, and believe me, all of our big yellow helicopters have got them, right? If you're out there flashing your camera, shining a torch, they will see you from miles away. Absolutely miles away. Right? So rest assured, it has all sorts of benefits. There you go, my two favourite pieces of kit. Big guns and night vision goggles. Corporal Hewitt, Cadet Hanfrey, are they here tonight?
Cadet Hanfrey isn't here. I
Corporal
don't think
Hewitt.
Corporal Hewitt isn't either.
Getting away with the time. These cadets don't exist, do they? Right. What's the speed of a Merlin? Okay then. What do we measure speed in aircraft? Knots. In knots. How fast is a knot? Anyone? No? Okay. A knot is about 1.2 miles per hour. So about 1.9 kilometres per hour. Okay? We measure everything in nautical miles as well. Every aircraft has got two limits, VNO and VNE. Velocity normal operating, velocity never exceed. They kind of speak for themselves really. Fly at this speed and don't go any faster. Apart from the Merlin, they have never tested it for a VNE. We don't know what speed we can't go beyond. So we sort of like, right then, and said 160 knots. So about 190 miles an hour. Right? However, that is dependent on a whole load of things. We call them watt limits: weight, altitude, temperature. Okay? Let me give you an example. Young chap here. You go outside, it's a nice day, okay? And you want to go for a run. Right? And you can cover your mile in however fast you cover your mile in. Yeah? Right. What would happen to that time over your mile if I turn the temperature up by 30 degrees, stuck you on the side of a 7,000 metre high mountain, and put a backpack weighing 20 kilograms on your back? It would slow you down. Yeah. Exactly the same with aircraft. Okay? They are, like your bodies, a machine. And that machine, how it performs, is going to be dictated by the amount of fuel that goes in and the environmental conditions. Exactly the same with the Merlin. We have two limits. We call them VNO power on and power off. Okay? And they effectively dictate how fast the rotor head can spin. which I'll come on to later on. Alright? Generally, around about 140 knots. That's the sort of speed we'll cruise at. So about 165 miles an hour. So pushing, I'd say about 210 kilometres an hour. Alright? That's how fast the Merlin goes. All right. Almost planned it. Cadet Taylor, Cadet Anian, is that right? Anian, yeah, cool, fantastic. How fast do the rotors spin? Cool, have a chat, sit down. Right. If I said they spin at 225 RPM, what would that mean to you? Brilliant, fantastic. Okay? This has to be expressed somehow to us then. Okay? It's no good having a gauge that says 225 RPM, right? Because then you'd have lots of little markers on it going down to 0. Well, does it make much difference to us if they're spinning at full speed or at half speed? Yeah, of course it does. We want them always at full speed. The rotors of a helicopter never speed up, never slow down to a degree. We have an operating limit, but normally they will just get up to speed and that's it. How do I quote this to what you might understand? Right, you're travelling in a car, you're doing 60 miles an hour, and you come up to a hill. If you want to maintain 60 miles an hour, what do? We'll have another one.
Give more gas.
Give it more gas. Right, jet engines, which are connected to the rotor blades, are exactly the same. They don't speed up, you just simply pump more gas into them. Okay? More gas in means more power out. And you maintain the same speed. Which means the rotors always maintain the same speed. So as the rotors tilt and they take a bigger cut of air, which makes them work harder, that's where you pump more gas into them. Remember that thing I called the collective, which you see the people on the film doing? That's what, and it's a throttle. It is nothing more than a throttle. So you do that with the collective, the pitch of the blades change, more fuel gets pumped into the engines. All controlled by wheel layouts and computers, okay, and all expressed to us as a percentage, which we want always to read 102%. Yes? No. Why do I want it to read 100%? Surely I want it to read 100%, yes? Yeah, because you want something 100%, because if it's 102%, it's working even harder than it should be. Unfortunately, when they designed the Merlin, the software they wrote was for a slightly slower rotor blade speed, okay? And they didn't pay for the software to be upgraded. So the rotor blades of the Merlin actually spin at 102%. Okay? Because they won't pay for the software to be upgraded. There you go. Right, we have operating bands, we can go down as low as 85%, that's when we're really in trouble, and it can go as high as about 106%. And that's when the rotator starts to spin itself off and disappear. Right? So, whenever you are looking at helicopters, the speed of the rotor blades is always expressed as a percentage. Merlin, weird, 102%, everywhere else, 100%. And it's going to be in a band around about that anyway. Okay? Happy?
Yeah.
Baffled? Yeah. Weird. Don't worry, we'll get to Schmidt principles of flight later, that will really fry you. Okay. Oh, deep questions now. Dear oh dear. Corporal Hewitt.
No.
No? You are making yourself, aren't you? Right, we're going to leave that one then, because that's a deep question. Cadet Sales, Cadet Rice.
Nice, isn't it? Oh, it is.
Cool, fantastic. Right, they want to know, how high is a learning flying? Okay, every aircraft has what's called a release to service. The release to service is a big document. The one we get is about that thick. The full document is about, and I'm not kidding, about the size of a full Encyclopedia Britannica. Enormous. Volumes and volumes and volumes. And it tells you how you can use every individual piece of kit on the aircraft and the actual aircraft itself. That book says that a Merlin can fly up to 14,000 feet in altitude. Okay? At which point it starts to wheeze, it starts to gasp for air. Okay? What else on the aircraft might start wheezing and gasping for air at 14,000 feet?
Fuel.
Yeah?
The crew.
The crew. Okay? Above 10,000 feet, the oxygen out there gets so thin that you will suffer from what's called hypoxia. It's a lack of oxygen. Your vision will start to dim, you'll get tunnel vision, okay? You'll get very lightheaded, and you won't be able to think straight. Check another part. I don't know. Okay? That's what happens to you. We get to experience this every 5 years they send us to a place called Henlow, they put us into a pressure chamber. And they artificially simulate 18,000 feet and they take us off of oxygen. You know those little toys that the babies get where you have to put squares and crosses through into boxes and what have you? They give us those to do. Right? If you ever want to see someone with a degree in engineering, okay, not fit a cross into a little baby box, that's where you want to do it. Because it happens. You say, it's not going to happen to me, and guys are saying it. And you know you're trying to do it, you know you're trying to force a square into a circle. You just got no idea it won't work. Okay? At which point the instructor leans across and puts an oxygen mask to your face, all of a sudden you realise you're looking like a loon. Okay? So, in reality, the Merlin, because it's not pressurised, like a normal jet liner is that you guys go on holiday in, okay, we can only go up to 10,000 feet. Now we do have portable oxygen systems that we can use, but they're still, excuse me, in this day and age, they are bulky, they are cumbersome, and they get in the way. Okay? Why are they bulky and cumbersome when you look at some of the stuff that is out there for the civilian world? Well, where we go, civilians don't. And as I was saying earlier, people tend to shoot at us. So we like our oxygen in pressurised cylinders to be bulletproof, which means bigger, bulkier kit. Okay? And the latest piece of kit, which is called AMOS 2, has exactly that. It's a big piece of kit that sits in the aircraft, and it's got a bulletproof jacket around it. Okay? And hoses go off it to all the crew members. So, yeah, we can fly to 14,000 feet. However, I can't. I start falling over. Brilliant story about a guy called James Bradley from the Hindu Kush Mountains in Chinook. And he wanted to test the hypoxia theory. Okay, so as they went above 14,000 feet, he went off oxygen and he started running up and down the Chinook. Okay? This is completely true. The guy, believe it or not, has just been promoted to my rank. He made it 3 lengths and he just flaked out. That was it. So they put the oxygen back on and put them out. Don't try it. Okay? Oh, this bloke came around and said, we should run up and down with hypoxia. No, right? Because if no one's around, you get brain damage and die. Okay? It is quite a serious condition. So do not try and simulate this yourself. Happy? Good. Now. Flight Sergeant. Right. The most expensive piece of equipment I used for murder. Right? Followed by the Chinook. How much is the murder? Have a guess. How much? £2,000. Any advance on £2,000? 200,000? That's good, in there.
2.5 million?
Yeah, 50 million for one Merlin. Chinooks roll in somewhere between 40 and 50 million. Okay? You want to make money? Design a plane, get it out there. You will be rich in seconds. Okay? Aircraft and the aircraft industry are incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. Why? Well, the kit is so sophisticated that it's time consuming, it's manpower intensive, you just take ages to build this stuff. To give you an idea, your engine in your car, about between, depending on the sophistication of the engine, somewhere between 200 and 500 components, yeah? Right, a single engine of the new Airbus, that new massive double-decker thing, the Rolls-Royce thing, yeah, it's got 20,000 working parts for one engine, okay? The combustion chamber blades are grown. They're crystals. And they operate at a temperature that's actually higher than their melting point. And they get around this by channeling cooling air through the middle of these blades, these compressor blades. Okay? How much technology is involved in that? It's got around about 500 of these blades in one engine. So time to grow that crystal, to manufacture it, to get to the shape they want, and then to actually fit it. Right? You're always talking about bespoke, one piece of kit every time you have one of these things. Same with the Merlin. Right? 3 jet engines, each with about 10,000 working parts. Okay? And there's your start at 10. That's the best part of £3 million in one. Right? And it's got so much other Gucci kit on board. How good is the Merlin? I could take off from Benson, punch about a total of 20 buttons, and the aircraft would fly itself here and bring itself to a 50-foot hover in the school field outside here, on its own. The pilot wouldn't even have to touch the controls. I'm scared to have a pilot, so they don't like that. Okay, that's how sophisticated aircraft are these days. And that's why they cost so much. And that is the most expensive piece of kit I've used. Okay. Oh, they're getting personal now. Cadet Kelleher? Did I pronounce it right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. The cadet now wants to know, why did I choose to go into the RAF? Okay. It's because when I was 13, I was sat in class at school, quite bored, I think it was an English lesson, and there was a knock on the door. And a chap called Steve Ellis, whose photograph is out there, came into the classroom and went, "Hi, I'm an air cadet. I fly planes, shoot guns, and go on weekend camps. Brilliant, who wants to join?" Right? And I was like, "Yeah, right?" And that was it. That is the reason. I came here aged 13, in fact just before my 13th birthday, and from someone who probably had no idea what he wanted to do with his life before then, just so I went, wow, this is awesome, this is brilliant. At the age of 15, RF Careers came down here and stupidly dropped a recruiting leaflet for air load masters in front of me. I went, that's what I got, that's it, got to do that. It had pictures of people kicking boxes out the back of Hercules, blokes dangling on wires underneath search and rescue helicopters, people with Pumas, Chinooks, everything. That is a loadmaster's remit. We can be employed on TriStars, DC-10s, C-17s, Hercules, when it comes in, the new Voyager, the new A400, Puma, Chinook, Merlin, Sea King, Griffin. 11 different aircraft types, all under one umbrella. It's brilliant. Okay, it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, I'll come to a bit of that later on. Okay, so that's why I joined, because I came here and dressed up in blue for 5 years and had a brilliant time. And the only logical thing to do was to join the Air Force. Okay? So go and advertise this to your schools. Leading nicely on from that, the good flight sergeant at the back there wants to know if my dad, who's there, affected my career path. Indirectly, yes. My father there was an airframe mechanic on Camrys. And the moment I came here, being that youngster who had no idea what he wanted to do, he just turned around and went, yeah, do it. Just go in, straight away, join up. You won't regret it. Okay, so yes, he did affect my career in so much as he encouraged me and said, yes, crack on. Right? Sound advice, 23 years, can't be that bad. Okay? And I've quite literally gone around the world with that. So yes, he certainly did affect it. What training, asked Cadet Webb.
He's not here.
Oh, yeah, no.
He does exist though.
What training did you have to complete to work the Merlin aircraft? Could you pull up the old PowerPoint thing again? Let's see if this keeps going. Right! Let's start at the very beginning. Okay? What do you have to do to get to be a Merlin Air Loadmaster? Notice the SLR rifles, that's all about it. It's not me, by the way. Right, if you want to do my job, first thing you do, once you've been accepted, and the acceptance process is very, very drawn out, okay? It was pretty much a year's worth of going to and from recruiting offices, having interviews. I spent 4 days at Biggin Hill. You lot would go to Cranwell, doing interviews, aptitude tests, initiative tests, exams, going back for another 2 days worth of medicals and more interviews, and then they finally let me get in. And then they sent me to Swindon. You lot will get sent to RF Halton, and you'll go there for 2 months. Okay, 2 months of square bashing. Right? Square bashing. Why square bashing? Because you bash the parade square. You will be yelled at, you will be screamed at, okay? You will be made to feel this big, but they're doing it to indoctrinate you into the armed forces. So you get used to service life. What you are doing here, what you are wearing, will set you up for this, okay? We recruit 30% of our numbers from the Air Training Corps, and we do it because we know that you can handle the discipline. We know that you've been through it all, and when some nasty rotten corporal with a big wax moustache, because that's what mine was in my face screaming at me, because apparently my creases in my trousers weren't that good. Is this sounding familiar to some of you? Okay? You'll just sit and go, yeah, whatever. Cadet Flight Sergeant so-and-so did that to me every day Thursday night, yeah, whatever. Just, okay? You will be used to it. Alright? You will get a lot of it. Okay? Now once they finish with you at Halton, okay, you pass out, you do a great grade, you then immediately get demoted to aircrew cadet. And you go through another 3 months of training at Cranwell. That 3 months will make the 8 weeks you spent at Halton look like a holiday camp. We used to call Swindon Swindon Butlins, okay? Because compared to what we went through at second phase of training, it was that easy. You will be beasted to within an inch of your life. Why? Because the moment you graduate from that extra 3-month course, you will be immediately promoted to acting sergeant. Okay? And you have to be aware of the amount of responsibility that carries. It's enormous. Your job, okay, will affect the outcome of a mission. And that is why so much is placed upon you. If you're an officer, you don't bond with Halton, you simply do about 9 months at Cranwell. Okay? I know someone, I'm not bragging, who has done both Officer Cranwell and NCA Cranwell. Okay? And they said they'd rather do the officer one at any time because it was easier. Right? The stuff you go through is, yeah, very, very hard indeed. Can you go on a slide, please? Yeah, loads of that. Absolutely loads of that, because effectively you remember the armed forces, you have to know how to be, at your very grassroots, a soldier. You are. You are the Air Force's version of soldiering. Okay? They'll ask you the question, are you prepared to kill someone? One of the first questions you get asked when you go for interviews. Okay? If you say no, don't want to sign up. There's no point. There's no point, because you could be put in a position where you have to kill someone. Harsh, yes, but we are the armed forces. When the politicians run out of things to say, they turn around and phone us up and say, we're going to talk now. And we do exactly that. It's our job. It is politically incorrect at the most base level. Okay? But you will get taught how to do that. Next slide, please. You get to do loads of this. Look at the grimacing. Look at this. Look. Yeah, that weighs about a ton, that trolley. And what they've had to do is run around for around about 2 hours, finding pieces of it, build it together, and then crack on. You'll notice people at the back. Okay, well, I've got things on the shoulders. Yeah, what I've actually got is stretchers. Okay, 4 to a stretcher with a 100 kilogram weight on it. They've been yomping for hours like that. All right, you'll do that for 5 days at a time, and you'll do it in the Yorkshire Dales and an Otterburn training camp right up in the north. Okay, I was lucky. I did it in January and February. I froze. I absolutely froze. So the lovely blue sky in the background there didn't really. Also, my hills were bigger. Right, as yours will be as well, so don't worry, you get to do it. Officers and non-commissioned aircrew get to do this for a long, long time. Okay, next slide. Eventually, we'll let you have a go on one of these. Okay, so you've done your 5 months training. In my job, you'll then go on to do another 20 weeks of basic trade training, learning everything you need to know about being an airload master or a crewman. And then we send you to Shawbury, RF Shawbury. Who was the guy who went to Nestcliff? It's our basic helicopter training place. Tri-service, Navy, Army, Air Force, we'll all go there, and you'll end up on this. Finally, you're doing professional training. Okay? So that's another 10 months. It's great. You don't get beasted there. You don't have to make your bed, you do have to polish your shoes, you always have to polish your shoes. And you always have to look smart. But here, all the pressure is from a professional aviation side, not from a have you polished your belt buckle side. We expect you to do that by this point. We expect you to have good turnout. All right? And by this point, if you're a crewman, you're already a sergeant. Next slide, please. Right. Can we just do one of these slides, please? That's better. Right. There. Looks a bit messy, looks a bit tired, doesn't it? What you probably can't see here, going around the outside here, is the survive, evade, resist, escape motto. of Defence Survival School down in St Morgan. We'll push you out into the Bondu, and for 2 weeks you'll go through a survival exercise. There's a week in the classroom and a week out on the run, literally on the run. I've done this, it was horrid. They sent the army after us. Okay? And at the end of it, you get put into a lovely building called the Monkey House and you're interrogated for 24 hours. Right? It is a physical, demanding part of your training. It is 100% necessary. Okay? Running around going, oh God, I'm not going to join up in rubbish. It's not. Right? It's not that bad. This is why we look for the best. Actually, people can handle all this sort of stuff. Right? So there'll be some of you in this room right now going, yeah, I'm after that. Good. That's the sort of people we're after. Okay? This is to prepare you for that horrid situation that could happen. Hasn't to me, in 23 years of aviation. This is to prepare you for what could happen if you get shot down and you have to go on the run. And God forbid, get captured. They teach you everything. It is a really, really good course. You will come out of it going, I never knew that. I never knew I could do it. Okay? That happens partway through your professional training. Slide on, please. And finally, we let you here. Put you onto the Merlin for another 6 months of training. Okay? That is your operational conversion for that. Finally, you're going to learn the ropes. How this thing works, everything about it. At the end of that 6 months, you get given to someone like me as my junior crewman. I will then team you up with one of my training staff and you'll go through what's called a combat workup, which will include 1 or 2, depending on where we are, detachments to places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Sierra Leone, former Republic of Yugoslavia, Kosovo, Northern Ireland. You can find stuff in any of those places. Why I mention those? Because that's all the places I've ended up in my service career. Right? And it's all the places that I've seen youngsters get trained up. How quickly do you have to be prepared for this? When I joined the Herc Fleet, it was the time when, if you know or not, Saddam Hussein, he invaded Kuwait back in 1990. I finished my Hercules training in December 7th, 1990. 2 days later, I was in Saudi Arabia. So that's how quickly you can find yourself on the front line. Right? So all these old stories you might have heard about Spitfire guys getting 6 months training, boom, off you go and defeat the Hun. Yeah, pretty much the same now. We want you out there. We want you fighting. We want you doing the job. Why? Because at this stage, if you're doing my job, we've probably spent about £1 million on you. In the first 3 years of your service life, £1 million just on you. If you can find me another company that will do that and give you free medical, free dental, a gymnasium, physical training instructors who will just teach you whatever you want, every kind of activity club you can think of, from motocross to rock climbing to volleyball, it's available for you in the Air Force. You are an expensive commodity. That's why we want you out there working. Right? That's what you have to do my job. Anyone still interested? Right. If you would flick on one of that as well, please, it should go on some black. Right, quick question then. Cadet Masters? Thank you. When did I start my career in the RAF? 1989. Okay? I've just reached a milestone in my life, right? In that I've received my first baby crewman. He's just finished all his training, he's just come to me, right? And he was born after I joined up. Right? That's just really like, oh. That's rubbish. That's completely rubbish. Okay? It goes very quickly. It does. It goes very, very quickly indeed. I'm dreadfully thinking how long it's going to go on for. Right, what else have we got? Okay. Cadet Woodhead. Cool. What is the Merlin helicopter made of, and how easy is the material to get hold of? You flip the PowerPoint on. There you go. Right. Not what you think. Most of it, you see yellow part there, it's effectively an aluminium style alloy. Okay, lightweight, fairly strong. Okay, we've got bits of steel in there as well. Also got there is this weird stuff, carbon Novex, Kevlar Novex, variants thereof. Right? This is the sort of stuff they're making Ferraris out of, okay, and the F1 cars. It's a variant of that. Why? Well, it's lightweight, it's flexible, and it's tough. It's also slightly pliable, right? Which is brilliant, because about 3 years ago, when we first went into Afghanistan with the Merlin aircraft, the Taliban actually got it right, and they fired, hands in the air, who knows what RPG-7 is? Yeah, a rocket propelled grenade. Okay, they fired one at the aircraft. It impacted about there. Ironically, it impacted just below the identifying letter for that aircraft, which happened to be X-ray. So whether they were aiming for the X or not, we don't know. But whether it was a dud RPG or whether it was the skin of the aircraft, but the missile went in one side and out the other. Literally. Okay? Pilots didn't know it happened. Crewmen heard a bang, and were looking around and they just saw a couple of wrecked seats down the back. Fortunately, no one was sitting there. And they had, it's a brilliant photo if you ever see it. If you might want to Google Merlin X-ray RPG, so like, you might see it. It's the classic Bugs Bunny Acme rocket hull. Okay, it was a circle with 4 lines coming off it where the fins had gone through. Right, it was absolutely perfect. And the guys just turned around and back, saw the wrecked seats. Well, it wasn't until they landed back at Camp Bastion, the engineers rushed down and shot. Okay, so it's pretty good. Now that immediately, okay, we heard the Taliban icon chatter. We can actually hear what they're saying on their mobile phones. And the commander was saying, "Why did you miss?" And the guy said, "I didn't miss. I hit it." He said, "Well, if you hit it, why isn't it burning on the ground?" I don't know. So we put it out there. Merlin wasn't affected by RPGs. Right? Bit of counter-propaganda for ourselves. To a degree, it was true. Right? We don't want to test it for real, obviously, because that might just be a one-off. But it does work in our favour. Right? So that's what it does. How difficult is this stuff to get hold of? No difficult, or no more difficult than your average Ferrari stuff. The problem is, it's expensive, hence the £50 million price tag. Okay, so it's expensive but good stuff. But like I say, not what most aircraft are made. But this is the future, guys. Gone are the days of steel and aluminium, complete composites. It's the way ahead. This new Boeing Dreamliner, yeah, mostly made of this stuff. All right, so expect to see this a lot more. Oh, click on one of these. The last one that. Right. We'll quickly counter through these and then we'll put a film in. I've answered this one already. Flight Sergeant Thomas. What did you want to be before you took up an RAF career? I haven't got a clue. No, I really haven't got a clue. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I banded around all sorts of things, and then Steve Ellis came into my classroom back in the net. Well, it was happy days. Okay, I really did not know. So it was a good thing. So take that away from this into that, guys. That uniform you're wearing, it's a potential career. I've answered how long I've been in the RAF. Have you ever flown the Merlin aircraft? No. Oh, that was Cadet Cecil. Oh, he's not here tonight. Thank you very much. No, I haven't, for real. But I have in the flight simulator. We've got 6 flight simulators where we are. It's the best computer game ever. They're £9 million each, right? Full motion, so they're on hydraulic jacks, and we can link all 6 together. So you can take off in one of the 3 Chinook simulators, in formation with the 2 Merlin and 1 Puma simulator. And you can look out of your window in your Merlin simulator, and your 5 formation buddies will be there in 3D graphic PlayStation format. But actually they're not there, they're in another simulator. It's weird, it's brilliant, it's absolutely brilliant. If you ever get an opportunity to go to a simulator, it's fantastic. They're great fun. They are really, really useful. They are cheap ways of teaching people how to fly. You can crash a simulator as many times as you want. and then hit Control-Delete and crack on again. Okay? That's what they're there for. They've earned their money a dozen times over. That's the only time I've found it, I'm afraid. And going back to the other question, yeah, it is quite difficult, and I'd much rather fly Chinook because they're really easy. In fact, my mum has flown the Chinook simulator. That's how easy it is to fly the Chinook. Okay, we put her in the seat, okay, and it was literally a case of, right, this is how you get airborne, put in the connector, pull the cycle back a bit, and away you go to the rest. And my mum flew a virtual circuit of Royal Air Force engine at RAF Penson. Noodle mounting stuff. Have you ever had a different career path inside the RAF? Cadet Masters? Yes, and that's only the operational trial stuff I did earlier. Everything else has been purely focused on going out and doing the job for real on an op somewhere. As I said earlier, Northern Ireland, former Republic of Yugoslavia, anything like that. The OEU stuff was great. Someone would just walk in and go, here's a biscuit, crack on, try it. And you'd be your own trial manager, you'd be your own boss. And the great thing there is as well, you get to work with massive civilian teams. You go out and you find the companies. I've got a week in America out of it, so it's brilliant. So we turn around, and that was all minigun stuff. They sent me to Rock Island. Go to Rock Island in America for a week, drink beer and fire the minigun. Yeah? Wow. Again, if you can find another company that's going to pay you to do that, I don't think so. Okay, so only is that. The rest of it is to be purely this. And finally, same question as Cadet Haskins. Thank you. Would you recommend an RF career? Right. Taking into account everything that I've just shown you, everything that you have seen, okay? A job in the armed forces these days is not A, for the faint-hearted, or B, for the undercommitted. When we get you, we'll get you for a very long time. I mentioned that it probably takes about 3 to 3.5 years in my job, probably about 5 years as a pilot, just to get basic combat ready status. That is you out there operating by yourself without someone going, stop it, you're being an idiot. Okay? Once you've got to that stage, the Air Force, as aircrew, will want 6 years of payback from you. So as a minimum, you will be giving 9 to 10 years of your life to us. Would I recommend it? Yes. You will see the world. Okay? I've been as far east as Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia, as far north as inside the Arctic Circle. I've flown over Antarctica, and I've been as far west as San Diego. Right? Everywhere in between. Bermuda, the Bahamas, just about every single island in the Mediterranean, the Maldives, Mauritius, all at the expense of the Royal Air Force. I've got some great photos. I really have. Most of them will be on the beach with a pina colada. Right? It's fun. But you have to be committed. You have to be 100% committed. And if you have doubts, you need to allay all those doubts first before you walk through the door. Because once you're in, you're gotcha. Okay? Cool. Who wants to see a film of Afghanistan? Brilliant. Where's my man? Can you work the magic? Magic. This is us, Christmas, 2011. This is all pre-flight, planning for the mission. Check the kit. Average sortie length is about 6 hours. You'll spend that as an airload master wearing about 20 kilograms of body armour, ammunition and rescue kit. Any 24-hour period, you'll burn about 6,000 calories. Okay? It is the perfect detox diet. All within Camp Bastion. And what the guy did, he strapped the camera to his flying helmet. It's right on the edge of the green zone. That's fairly typical of the sort of places we're going to now. Most places you go, it's dangerous, so we have an Apache escort. It's a nice small thing. If we don't have an Apache, the Americans will send a Cobra and a huge gunship as well. So we're quite well protected. Right, these are the troops coming up back to the sea. The objective was about 200 metres to the top and right. Reasons like that was all done in the dark. Gives you an idea of the size of Camp Bastion. Now obviously, it takes a lot of training. We've got to do some of that training out as well, so I'm hoping now you'll see some footage of us going out and doing some of that night vision training, and you'll get an idea of roughly what it looks like through a set of goggles. Right, there you go. That's about after that. The rest of it goes on just being silly and playing cricket. That was a rifled flare release from a Merlin, so that's everything gone in one go. You don't do that all the time, just when you need to get rid of them. Right, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for letting me come down here and for some very interesting questions. OC Earth Scroll, sir.
Yes.
Best question. Which one do you reckon?
I quite like one that the Merlin was made of.
You asked the Merlin, what was it made of? Question. Pakistan. Genuine. Brand new. Flying gloves. See, it's worth asking questions. Anyone got any more? No more flying gloves. Brilliant. Thanks once again, guys.
Can I just say that from the film and what you said, it looks like all men and male people.
No, definitely not.
How many ladies have you got working?
On my flight, bearing in mind I've only got about a dozen guys. I've got one, total on the squadron, probably about a dozen, aircrew wise. Okay, so there's a fair old few.
Do you find it hard balancing family life and work life?
Massive. Massively hard. Last year I was away for 6 months. I came back from my detachment in January, having spent Christmas in Afghanistan. I then had about 4 months in the UK before I went on a 1 month exercise in Jordan. Came back from that, had a month and a half in the UK before going back out to Afghanistan for another 3.5 months. But that's what I was saying earlier about if you're going to join up, you've got to be committed. We are now an expeditionary force. We no longer keep the dirty Hun away from the beaches of Dover, and we go and keep the dirty Hun away from thousands of miles away. And that's our. So yes, it is very, very difficult. It's not always like that. The 4 years I spent on the OEU doing trial work, I only did a total of about 3 months away. So the Air Force does recognise that fatigue is a factor, and they will tell you, okay, well, you're being moved aside for now into a quality job. There's still the operational focus, but they recognise that you can't do it. You get battle fatigue, PTSD, it all exists, and we have a huge infrastructure that's there to cope with that. Yes.
Mr. Weston told us, not actually told us, we saw you sort of slightly above Welling School.
Cool, that's a few years ago. This one I came down, it's,
Yeah. What
Yeah.
were you actually doing?
sorry?
What were you actually doing to come and give us a sort of...
Jolly. Training exercise.
Questions like that.
Actually, who's been to Merryworth Woods? Yeah, on your exercises? No, there's a proper helicopter landing site in Merryworth Woods. You come in the main gate, turn left, go back, kilometre down. Okay, that is one of our recce helicopter landing sites. We were going there.
Oh.
Why? Because we can. These helicopter landing sites are all over the UK, and we use them to practice landing in the confined areas that you've seen on that video out in theatre. So what we did, the great thing about me and my job is, if your pilots are busy, they will turn around to you and say, can you plan me a route for the trip tomorrow? How long have we got? 3 hours. Right. You work out how far you can get in an hour and a half. That's actually furthest point. Obviously you need to come back. So we came all the way through the middle of London. Only way to get through London in a helicopter, down the River Thames, back of the net. Why pay to go on the London Eye? Well, you can do it for free in London. It's brilliant. And we actually come down to the level of the London Eye and wave to them and go, you paid for this? Right. So we came all the way through London. We went into Wooded Barracks. I have a folk come up to see me going into Wooded Barracks a few times. Did the circuit over here, circled around a few times, went down to Sevenoaks, where there's a helicopter landing site, went into that. That's a really good, really tough to get into. Down to Merryworth. We then did Capelford, which is the memorial down on the coast, and then we came all the way back across Kent, East and West Sussex, Hampshire, and up in that way. 3-hour training, which is great fun. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. So again, these are little perks. Going back, when did I get the guys down to Odeon? Must have been about, what, 10 years ago?
Years ago.
Yeah, I pretty much got the entire squadron, as in the 358 squadron, down to Odeon and got them up in Chinook. Okay, so we can do this sort of stuff. Not so much now because we're so heavily committed, but certainly when we're quieter. But we're hoping that as our commitments draw down out of Afghanistan, that sort of thing will come up for you again. If you get that opportunity, if some weirdo like me turns up and goes, oh, let's go fly a helicopter, okay? So I promise you this happened. If you're scared, please tell me. Because we've got everyone together. I'm literally about to throw them out the door and into the back of the Chinook, and one of them says, yeah, I was actually involved in a helicopter crash in America. And I can't stand flying in helicopters. Yeah, cheers fella. Come and sit in the tea bar and we'll have a cuppa. Right? What we actually got him doing was hooking the loads. Okay, underneath the helicopter in the normal time. But you've got to know something. Okay, so we can tailor the trip around you. Right? But that sort of stuff is still out there. So if you do find yourself on an Air Force station, send your boss flag trips. Knock on our doors every day. We might turn you away 5 days in a row. Day 6 we might turn around and go, yeah, all your cadets are on that helicopter. Go. Right? So can done. Any more for any more?
So on that note, has there have you been in a situation where you've really been tested by your training, like your mental strength?
Yeah, every time we go to Afghanistan. How quick can things happen? Don't tell mum. My first ever sortie in Afghanistan, in a Chinook, we were engaged and hit by the Taliban. It happened so quick. Initially, we didn't know what was happening, but we just happened to fly straight over the top of them. The 50-foot let off with their AKs and scored 8 hits on the aircraft. Punctured the left main undercarriage both wings. This was in the Chinook. Bullets through both the blades. One, we've got ceramic armour, and it's pinned in and out, literally under my feet. And another one came in through the back and took out the hydraulics. Now there's a test fit to work as a crew to get an aircraft safely home across the Badlands with no hydraulics. Okay, and that's where you work as a crew. It's called CRM, Crew Resource Management, and you just work together all the time. That sort of thing is going on all the time. It's why the guys down at Odeon who do the Merc stuff, they're earning 2 distinguished flying crosses every year. Right, that's as tough as it gets in the Air Force. That is the best Air Force medal you can win, a distinguished flying cross. Okay, it's comic hero sort of stuff. But they're the situations they find themselves in. But skip back to that 3 to 3.5 years training I was talking about. That what it prepares you for. so that when it all does go wrong, you just fall back on the basics. And that's exactly what we did. We just sat there and went, hang on a minute, we were sure this is how we did it. And we just slowly went through everything, sorted everything out, chugged our way home. Whilst going, hello! Oh, which one? Patchy turned up. Yeah, he's just there, get it. Okay? Speaking of patches, I was out there with Harry. How cool is that? I got escorted by Prince Harry. Yeah, cool. He worked in the same office as me. Which is really cool. He's got a mouthful of skin. Really is. Absolutely terrible. And he needs to get his hair cut as well. Any more for any more? Beautiful. Thank you very much indeed.
So I'm glad that I came down and had that chat. Ain't my camera. Hi.
Ladies and gents, this end!
Find a volunteer who can take who's the sign on?
I think he's gone soon.
Canteen will be open for a sec. I don't know what's left in there, so you can work with it yourself.
What do you want with your wire? Just roll it up and stick it in the office for me. Sure, figured. Jimmy. I think it's under you actually.